Hey everybody, this is the Week 6 report for the Baltimore Ravens. They play the New York Giants in New York this Sunday. A lot of things happened over the week. I did a video before talking about Mark Trestman being fired, so this will be the first week that Marty Mornhinweg will be the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. Now, he has a long history of being offensive coordinator for the Eagles, the 49ers, Green Bay Packers. So he has a long history of coordinating good quarterbacks. West Coast offense, definitely. So we could see a lot more deep balls this week. Definitely a more run pass balanced than what we've been seeing for the last few weeks, where it'd be 40 passes and only like 11 runs. I think we're going to see closer to more 25, maybe 25. I think we're going to go probably closer to more towards the running side, just based on the fact that the running game has been it looks like they've gotten the hang of it. It's just that they have to do more of it now. So going into this week against the Giants defense, Giants aren't really that good. Passing defense, they're ranked 29th in the league, so it's another bad secondary the Ravens are going against. Looks like Pierre Paul's going to be out this week, so they don't really have a pass rush to worry about. However, the offensive line again looks like it's going to be shuffled around because it looks like Ronnie Stanley will be out again for now a fourth week. This is the third or fourth. I've lost count now. At least he's become now the Breshad Perryman of this season. Like he played 1 week and now he can't get back on the field. I don't know how serious his foot injury is, but after a couple weeks, after another week, if he sits out like again next Sunday, the Rays may have to consider putting him on injured reserve if he's not going to be healthy enough to play. And the Ravens have been making some moves. They've been signing offensive linemen and cutting guys, and they realize now they don't have any depth at the offensive line. Guys are getting hurt, falling down. Rick Wagner had an injury towards the end of the game last week, so he may not play this week. So they're going to shuffle it around. You're probably going to have Alex Lewis playing left tackle, Urschel playing left guard, Zuda playing center, Yana playing right guard, and maybe you'll probably have Jensen, or you'll probably have the terrible guy, I can't remember his name now, playing right tackle. So it's not the best line, but it is better than what they saw, I think, in week 3. So going into this game, with everything that just happened for the Ravens offensively, definitely, going away, now they've lost 2 games at home. This is a must-win game for the Ravens. I know a lot of people say, well, they'll still be 3-3, and they're not out of it. They'll still have it's still early in the season. But for the Ravens right now, they're getting to a critical point because after their bye week, which is around, I think, week 8, week 9, after that happens, the teams get real tough. You're going to have to play the Steelers twice, the Bengals twice. You're going to have to play the Patriots, and play the Eagles. You're going to play the Cowboys. It doesn't get any easier from this point on. So this is a game where the Ravens have to find what they know how to do best. So just run the football, play action pass. They got to score. You got to go score early. This is the kind of game where you don't want to get the New York Giant fans you don't want any, when you're playing away, you don't want to get the home fans into the game. You want to keep them quiet, keep them, not being, make sure they're not spirited enough to cheer for their team. Keep the pressure on the other home team. So I think that's possible for the simple fact that Eli Manning has never really been a superstar quarterback in a regular season. He's much like Joe Flacco. So he tends to make mistakes. Odell Beckham is not playing his best football right now. He seems to have an internal battle with himself. I don't know what's going on with Odell Beckham, but he just can't seem to kind of get out of his own way. Maybe he's now hitting his slump. We've expected this. For 2 years he was doing well, but it's usually with star rookie players, they tend to have a bad year at some point in time where they kind of have to find what they do well, and kind of have to work at their craft instead of relying on their raw talent like they did in college and high school. So we're starting to see Odell Beckham kind of falter a bit. Now, granted, the Ravens secondary, especially those cornerbacks, minus Jimmy Smith, aren't really covering receivers that well. And they're going to have a tough challenge this week. You still got Odell. You got to worry about him. You're going to have Victor Cruz probably playing in the slot. and you're going to have some, and I mean the other side in the wide position, and then you're going to have the number 3 receiver being Sterling Shepard, who in the first 2 weeks was phenomenal. He's been kind of shut down the last few weeks, but I think Tavon Young has done a really good job at that nickel slot for the Ravens. That I think that he can contain Sterling Shepard. I think he'll do a good job there. He's made some plays this year. I've been an advocate of putting him, trying to give him a spot at the second slot. But I think Victor Cruz hasn't really been coming off of his many injuries. He hasn't really been that factor that he was earlier in his career. So maybe putting Sharice Wright. I know I'm crazy for saying this. Wouldn't be such a bad idea. You put Jimmy and Odell. I would personally not like Sharice Wright out there on the team at all. I say cut him and, maybe give somebody else. But the Ravens are really kind of thin at cornerback right now, so they really don't have a choice but to put Sharice Wright back out there. So it's just going to be some guys, the coordinator's going to need to he had all week now to get his game plan together. But, the offensive coordinator for the Ravens, Marty Mornhinweg, is now going to have to see what this offense learned. Guys are going to have to step up. We're going to have to see Bashard Perryman. We saw last week he could have had 2 touchdowns. There was a pass, I think, in the first quarter that was Flacco threw it where if he goes and attacks the ball, he gets that catch and probably goes in for a touchdown. And the other one where, in the end of the game with like 13 seconds to go, and, if he drags that left foot, the game's over, Ravens win. So, granted, I said this is his first season playing. He's going to have to learn all those things, and that eventually will come to him. Those guys, Chris Moore, Kamar Aiken, the receivers have to step up now for Joe Flacco. They're going to have to make catches. They're going to make tough catches. I know Steve Smith is the only Pro Bowler right now on this squad, but everybody else is going to have to kind of step up. They're going to have to do what the Carolina Panthers did last year and just step beyond their actual what their ability is and just kind of step out of themselves and actually put forth an effort, because they cannot afford to lose 3 straight. This is one of those losing streaks that could spiral out of control and become a snowball effect and get worse, and worse. So they're going to have to, a heavy dose of the run, definitely from the offensive side. You got to get Terrence West the ball, Kenneth Dixon, throw in those running backs, just keep running those guys. And if you see in the first quarter, if the Ravens are running the ball well, to keep at it. I don't care if Flacco only has 170 yards passing and a touchdown. If they're running the ball well, you don't really need to do much else. Keep the offense keep their offense off the field. You make them become one-dimensional. You force them to play from behind. I would like to see the Ravens do that this week and get a few points on the board and make the other team play from behind and make the other team scramble and try to adjust and things like that. So we'll see what happens on the offensive side this week. It's really kind of hard to tell. They generally don't try to change too much during the season. But maybe we'll just see a better balance of things, and maybe Marty Mornhinweg has a better grasp of the flow of the game to change things. I know a lot of people have been criticizing Flacco, and I've talked to some coworkers of mine, and we agreed that Flacco's going to have to maybe change the kind of quarterback that he is. And while I did agree at the time, I think I have to disagree with my coworker now, because they made a great argument. They were talking about on NFL Network the other day about RG3 or Cam Newton. This Cam Newton has to change what kind of quarterback he is if he wants to stay in this league for another 8-9 years, whatever. And the other, Colin Cowherd, made a good point where it's like, this is what got him to the NFL. You cannot tell this quarterback that he can't play like this anymore. He doesn't know how to play like anything else. It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. And at this point in the game, when you're in the NFL, Cam Newton knows how to run the football. He knows how to read option. That's what he does well. Running the football is a game plan defenses have to prepare for. And if he doesn't run the football and just try to stand there and be a pocket quarterback, which he is not really great at doing, that's like telling Ben Roethlisberger to stop scrambling outside the pocket. Yeah, he's getting tagged every single time he does it, but he's won 2 Super Bowls. So what's gotten him here has worked. So I think for Flacco, we're expecting too much out of him. Like I said in my last post, I think Flacco does best when he doesn't have to think too much. And when you have a coordinator that's behind Flacco that knows what he's doing, it makes Flacco look good. If he tells Flacco, hey, go into the sugar huddle, or, we're going to know our sugar huddle this. If he gives him like a package to run during that series where things seem to work out and they kind of, tinker with it and things like that during the game to see which, play schemes work best for Flacco, then it seems Flacco gets into his rhythm. When he has to start figuring stuff out on his own and call audibles and things like that, I mean, we've seen it time and time again, and here he is going into his 9th year, and he's still making a lot of the same mistakes that he did when he was a rookie, holding on to the ball too long and, only looking down his first receiver and not checking down too much, not finding the second and third options, things like that. He is what he is at this point, I'm going to do a separate video later on about what I think the future of Flacco is for the Ravens. Some of you may be surprised at what I say, but I'll get to that later. But I just think for the offense, we're going to have to wait and see come Sunday. We're going to have to wait and see. I don't know what they're really going to do. It really depends on what kind of – if Marty Morningwig, because there's really – with Steve Smith not being able to play, Mike Wallace is going to be Brashard Perryman and a rotation of Kamari and Chris Moore out there, wide receiver. So I think, and Flacco's not really a fiery guy. I really believe it's going to be up to Marty Morningwig to kind of fire up these guys, this coach, this coordinator, to get these guys fired up for this game. So we'll see, what happens on the offensive side. On the defensive side, I covered the secondary a little bit, kind of the issues the struggles they're gonna have during this game. The pass rush, they have not been able to get a steady pass rush all season. They've been able to get turnovers. They've been great at it so far. Definitely what we didn't see last year, but the only problem is this year they're not turning them into points, at least not touchdowns. And that's going to become an issue, especially later on down the road. They got to be able, the defense and offense got to be able to work together. When the defense gets turnovers, they got to be able to turn them into touchdowns. Field goals don't cut it. You got to get 7. And with Suggs and Dumervil, it looks like Dumervil's going to probably be out this week. Hopefully Matt Judon will be able to play. He was out last week, but I think he'll play this week. You're probably going to see more Correa out there. Zadarius Smith, Price. I think you're going to see a lot of the younger guys get some shots. And, Suggs is probably only going to come in on certain downs and things like that. But, I would like to see Dean Pease blitz some of these linebackers. Blitz the linebackers to kind of create some pressure because the 4 guys they have up front, Jernigan, well, he expected him to be the next, what's his name? I can't remember his name. Pernell McPhee. He hasn't really turned into that yet. Brandon Williams is a run-stop guy, and, teams aren't really – they're great at stopping the run, but he's not a pass rusher. So you're really relying on Dumervil and Suggs, and now Suggs, 34 years old, and 2 Achilles tears, and then Dumervil's dealing with a nagging foot injury that's going to keep him out this week. You gotta give Correa and Judon, those guys, Darius Smith, give those guys a shot. Mosley's probably going to be out this week. It doesn't look like he's going to play. He's doubtful with a hamstring. So Zach Orr and then Correa. I think Correa's going to take that spot there in the middle. I like what Zach Orr's been doing, and when they've given him the spot as a middle linebacker, he's played well this year. He's caused turnovers. He's made big plays. But they got some injury bugs right now that are taking some star players out. Steve Smith on that offense brings the fire, and C.J. Mosley is a very athletic linebacker. While Zach Orr has been playing well, he's not as athletic as C.J. C.J.'s been, jumping up catching footballs like he's Odell Beckham. He's been snatching stuff out of the air. And if he's not able to go Sunday, they're gonna have some issues on. You're gonna have it's a next man up philosophy where guys are just gonna, hey, look, this is your time. I know the star is out, but you got to step up. If you're in a contract year and maybe you're trying to look for another team, you got to step up. Against the Giants, this is a team that the Ravens are capable of beating. The Giants have been giving up touchdowns to wide receivers. Like I said, their secondary is ranked 29th in the league. So they should be able to do this. Again, this is probably the 3rd time I'm saying this, where the Ravens are playing a bad defense, but they have to do this week. They got to go in this week, and they got to dominate. They can't have another grinded out. Even if they do, if they end up winning a grinded out game where it's only like 14-13, something like that, that is considered a loss for me because this offense has to get fire on all cylinders. We see the potential this offense has, and it's not happening right now. So this is a game in the next few games before they get to their bye week. This offense has to start clicking on all cylinders before they get ready to start facing those tough defenses against the Steelers, against the Bengals, the Patriots. And the Eagles. They gotta be able to get together, because if they don't, this is another season that could be over real fast. It had a real promising beginning at 3-0, but this could go downhill if the Ravens offense does not get this together. This Raven defense is good, but it's not good enough to carry this team and win games, which we have seen so far. They've been playing well, but they do give up points. They're not aggressive enough on defense to blitz the quarterback, and give him happy feet. They're trying to rely on their 4 guys. So while they do get interceptions and occasionally force fumbles, they're not returning in for 6 points. They're not like the Ravens defenses of old, where they were try to score on any turnover. They're not doing that now, and they're letting teams get down the field, get into their red zone, and they're stopping them. And you kick a field goal, but it's the bending and no breaking. They are going to give up some points. So this Ravens offense has got to get it together this week. My prediction for the game, if the Ravens get it together, this should be a 28-14. 28-14 win for the Ravens. They get back on track for next week. Offense feels good about itself. They found out what works, and continue that for the next few games. But if you have any comments or anything, please leave them below. Like I said, I will do a video probably. I'll do a post. I'll do some stuff during the game on Facebook, and I'll do a post-game video, of course. But I'll also do a video about Flacco and what I think the future of Joe Flacco is, and the quarterback situation for the Ravens over the next few seasons. But anyway, that's my spiel for today, and thanks for watching.